Happy Thanksgiving, YouTube! This is Nanashi back with another YuGiOh ban list update video. A lot of people are calling it an emergency ban list since it's only been 2 months since the last one, and it came at a time when we needed it but never expected it. But Konami's excuse is they released it early for the holiday. But regardless, the list is out, it's relatively small and simple, and it did have some amount of impact in the game, specifically when it came to one incredibly frustrating card we've been hating on since its inception. And you'll see what I mean when we take a closer look. 2 cards have been banned and are no longer allowed to be played. First is Curious the Lightsworn Dominion, a generic tech we see occasionally in grave-based decks, but it's been seeing use in tier, and we can't have that. They gain benefit from the Foolish, the Triple Mill, and the Recovery. The other is Mystic Mine. It took them 3 years to ban this card since its initial release in 2019. And from the moment we saw this card exist in the OCG, we knew it would be a problem. I never liked the card, I am glad it is gone, and I hope we never see it or anything else like it ever again. Only one card has been limited, and it's Herald of Orange Light. A seemingly fair hand trap that negates a monster effect by discarding a fairy, but Ishizu tier was abusing it by discarding the fairies of their own archetype as cost to trigger them. A smart limitation, unless they plan to start using green light instead. One card was semi-limited, and it was Lyralus Recital Starling. This card was originally limited due to Tri-Brigade Lyralus decks using it to get an easy access to UDF, but I guess Konami changed their mind about that one? Good for Lyralus decks, if nothing else. And 5 cards were put to unlimited status. First was Tellarknight Ptolemaeus. First off, the main reason this was likely brought back was to give rank 4 decks generic access to something of a direct counter to Ishizu tier through use of Constellar Diamond, which this can stack up into on the opponent's turn if needed, as well as things like Nash Knight or other obscure rank 5s that I don't remember. But there is one small issue, and it's its turn skip effect. Call me crazy, but I remember Rongo Bongo and its full turn shutdown being enabled by 6 Sam getting out Rongo and throwing a Gossip Shadow under it like it was nothing. And while Gossip only works with numbers, I know Tiger Mortar exists, and people might try to do the same with it. I'm probably overthinking it, and even if they do it, it's not going to be anything competitively viable, but it is something worth considering. Next is Dimensional Fissure. This card was a horrific annoyance, but essentially is a death counter to Ishizu tier, which is the only real reason I can think of as to why they brought it back, same as Ptolemaeus. Although it does nothing to the flu, which might be a future problem. Next is Fire Formation Tenki. Tri-Brigade players rejoice, you now have full power access to Fractal again. But more important than me is full power access back to Fire Kings. Next is Macrocosmos. Same reasoning as Fissure, I imagine, even though it is a trap, and again, this may help the flu more than it hurts Ishizu tier. And finally is Metaverse. We all expected that once Mystic Mine was ever banned, this card would immediately come back to 3, so we can all take a pat on the back for predicting that one. And that is the ban list, and no amount of positivity will change that the list is kinda shitty. It really seems like a good chunk of these changes were specifically to give us answers to Ishizu tier. Locking the graveyard, denying discard responses, and refusing milling effects just screams play something else. They won't hit the deck directly because of that weird 2 ban list probation period or whatever it is, I can never get a straight answer. So what do you do when you can't take away someone's ammo? You give better ammo to someone else. Overall, I'm glad to see them giving some classics back to us for whatever reason, but yeah, let's just be honest, the health of the game is probably right where it was before. If anything changed, Ishizu tier went down just a little and the flu rose just a little. And hey, no collateral damage to anything I play. In fact, getting Tenki back to 3 helped the consistency of Fire King, so that makes me happy. And even though the ban list didn't change any of my other decks, a lot of new cards have been coming out that I've been testing and working into my decks, which means more profiles. Right now I'm focusing on Shiranui, Crawlers, Phantom Knights, and maybe Stunder if I can, so stay tuned for new content hopefully soon. I thank you for watching the ban list video, and if you have any opinions on it, drop your comments below. In the meantime, this has been Nanashi, signing out.